The Bible says in Proverbs chapter 22 that a good name is chosen rather than great riches. That Solomon is telling his son that your name matters, your reputation matters. And he says, favor is better than silver or gold. That you can have all the money in the world, but if you have a bad reputation, man, listen, you want to have a good name. He says in verse 2 that the rich and the poor both meet together. Why? Because the Lord is the maker of them all. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much money that you have, we will all stand before the Lord and give an account for our lives. Verse 6, probably one of the more famous Proverbs. It says that if you'll train up a child in the way that they should go, he says when they're old, that they won't depart from it. Now again, we need to think principle, not promises. It's saying if you bring your child to church, you do devotions at home, you lead a godly life and model for your kids what it looks like to follow Jesus, they see what a redeemed person, how they act and behave, then they're more likely not to depart from it. Verse 7, the rich rules over the poor, and the borrower is slave to the lender. So here we are talking about money. He's saying, now listen, if you're going to borrow from somebody, you're going to be slave to them. You're going to be beholding to them. He says over and over again in the Proverbs about not putting up pledge for someone else. You have to watch about getting in a financial bind because it's going to have implications on all areas of your life. That as believers, we should avoid credit card debt. We should avoid borrowing at all costs because you're going to be a slave to the lender. There's some mission agencies that you can't go and be a missionary with them if you have a certain amount of debt because you're just not going to be able to live the lifestyle that you need to do to be successful. Verse 24 says, no friendship. It says, make no friendship. I mean, there's no room for it whatsoever. A man who's given to anger, a wrathful man. That Solomon is reminding his son, he's reminding us, that any time that you're with someone who's quick-tempered, angry, wrathful, it's going to spill over onto you. It's like a boiling pot of water on the stove. Eventually, if you just let it keep boiling, it's going to boil over and it's going to impact the things around you. Verse 25, he says, continuing with the same thing, same thought, least you learn his ways and you entangle yourself in the same snare. That birds of a feather flock together. We are the sum total of our 7 closest friends. So he's warning the son, listen, don't make close companions with someone who is quick-tempered, someone who quickly becomes angry. It will turn on you and will impact your life in negative fashion. And then finally, verse 28. Verse 28, it says, whatever you do, do not remove an ancient landmark that your fathers set. You shouldn't move somebody's property line. You shouldn't move that fence post. If you come up and you're on your land and there's some stake in the ground, you shouldn't just move it. You'll be wise to find out why it's there first. People don't like you messing with their property and those property lines. And Solomon's reminding his son to do the same. Do not move an ancient landmark, property line, something that was you don't know why it's there. It probably has some significance.